Hi, this is Matt from Games Radar, and I'm here with Dave Horton, the features editor for Games Radar, and Tom Senior from PC Gamer, and today we're going to be rounding up the best average games ever. So the most brilliantly average 7 out of 10 games.
Yep, these are the games that are not just average, but are brilliantly average. Those like plucky, winsome, kind of like not quite there, but by God they're trying kind of 7s that you just can't help loving. Probably better than a boring 8 or 9.
So the first one on the list is one of yours, Dave. It's Mercenaries 2. Why is Mercenaries 2 so brilliantly average?
Right, I mean, as an open world game, it's not great. It's a bit shonky looking. Its shooting mechanics aren't good. But as a toolbox, as a toy box, as a place of just causing hilarious havoc, it is incredible. Because it gives you, well, its key thing really is the helicopters have a pickup winch on them. And you can use that on anyone you want at all, ever. So, I mean, I basically stopped playing the main game very quickly as soon as I unlocked the helicopter. Just started making mini games for myself, really. Like playing Conkers with cars. You can just fly along, pick up a dumper truck, swing it at cars on the motorway, and see how high your score is before it blows up.
Okay, we're trying to sort of go through these quite quickly, but I have to know, none of that sounds at all average. It just sounds plain, but so where does the average come from?
Everything else. Like the stuff you're supposed to do, the actual core game, the missions, the sort of basic mechanics, bit rubbish, but when you're dicking around the helicopter, it's amazing.
The next one we've got on the list is Asuras Rough. So I think, am I the only one who's played Asuras?
I've played some of it.
Okay, well basically I think the reason it's maybe 7 is because it isn't a game.
No, it's not. It's really not.
Like, it's bits of a game surrounded by like...
Isn't that a 0 if it's not?
If we're rating it as a game.
It's not a game, guys.
No, there are bits in it that work, but it's a huge sort of like QTE after QTE with sort of linked together with pretty sort of average running bits, but it's impossible not to love it. It's so ridiculously overblown.
Yeah, there's just something wonderful. Yeah, just wonderfully kind of enjoyably giddily stupid about it.
Yeah, and a game that just somehow manages to get angrier and angrier.
Yeah.
Once you've reached the point that you didn't think this guy could get any angrier, he grows 6 arms and gets angrier still.
It's the video game equivalent of like an endless kind of anime speedline section. That's just it, basically.
Yeah.
Where the guy's going, oh, with the lines, it's that for like 5 hours.
Yeah, and I think in answer to your sort of very valid point, Tom, the fact that it's sort of not really a game, but there is a bit where he punches a giant thumb, so that's why it's on the list. The next one, Dave, again, is one of yours, Dark Void. I know nothing about Dark Void.
Dark Void, oh, I mean... I started Dark Void feeling really sorry for it because it seemed so pathologically intent on being seen as like a crap Uncharted. I mean, it's set in a jungle tropical island type place. Your hero is voiced by Nolan North. There's a bit where there's a goddamn beach ship hanging out of a waterfall. You know, it's like, why did you do this? You're signaling so rubbish. And it's a cover shoot. It's not a very good one. You're fighting these weird robot dudes who are like, there's like one robot. They just give them different colours for the entire game. But it's got a jetpack.
Well, there you go.
So basically, jetpacks make most things better.
Yeah.
Right? They really do, and this is one case.
An insight into the highly scientific scoring methodology that goes into rating these games. But jetpacks can be amazing. It's just one thing that makes all the interactions with the game feel amazing.
It does. I mean, it takes average mechanics and makes them just average, but quite amusing.
On the subject of robots, the next one on the list is Binary Domain.
Yeah.
Which I think is the absolute, like, beautiful, shining sort of best example
it's the
of a game that kind of just falls a little bit short of being brilliant.
Yeah.
It has a robot who wears a neckerchief and speaks in a French accent.
Amazing. He doesn't even need any clothes. He's a robot.
Yeah, like most of the characters in it you could probably have written without ever having seen the game.
Yeah.
But the one thing it does, again, the one thing, coming back to the one thing, it has the best robots falling apart mechanism I've ever seen. Like shooting the robots, they just sort of the kind of metal flies off them and they fall to bits, and it just looks amazing. It's like something beautiful falling apart,
which is a metaphor for the entire game.
Exactly. Yeah. The next one, this is the sort of primary reason that Tom is with us.
I'm here. I'm the only person in the world that really loves this game. But yeah.
Tell us about Alpha Protocol.
Alpha Protocol is an espionage thriller in which it's an RPG about being a spy. And then, there are so few games where you play a spy. That's already awesome. Of course, like all the bits where you're doing action spy things are pretty bad, and if you happen to pick martial arts instead of pistols, then you're basically screwed.
Why would they make you choose?
They developed a character class they did not choose to support.
Yeah, so a lot of the character classes will just result in your death. You become a bad spy. But the brilliant thing about Alpha Protocol is that it has one of the most responsive RPG stories.
Oh, yeah.
In RPGs, like your choices affect which continent you go to next. Like entire locations change, your characters die off, and like it's a game you can play 3 or 4 times and be like, oh god, I've not met that person before, and so it's worth putting up. Just take pistols, trust me. Pistols, go for the instant headshot stuff, and just enjoy the crazy story. And the best bit of all is that like you're a kind of weird mash between James Bond, Jason Bourne, and Jack Bauer. I don't know why spies have to have the initials JB.
Every single one of them does that.
That is weird.
Yeah, I know, it's uncanny, isn't it? But yeah, like all your conversation options are basically be one of these guys at this moment.
Awesome.
And for that reason alone, it's great.
Next up is Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah,
and you summed this up perfectly.
It's like the Iceland own brand Skyrim, really, isn't it? It's yeah. I mean, I've only dabbled a little bit. I think Matt, you've played it more.
I have played it quite a bit. Yeah,
it's sort of like a weird sort of Capcom-y sort of.
There are a few Capcom games on this list.
Capcom, there are really.
Well,
a couple. But yeah, it's like a weird sort of like just slightly weird Japanese caricature of a Western RPG, really.
Yeah, one of your team always shouts "fall still," which I don't know what that means.
How does one even do that?
Yeah, like it's very strange. You can throw rabbits off cliffs. You can just pick anything up and throw them. You can pick your own teammates up and throw them.
This is sort of now becoming brilliant.
It is. It's incredible, and it's got this really just sort of progressive and insane pawn system. Pawn, P-A-W-N,
right.
where you kind of make your follower, and then you can sort of share them with other people.
Oh yeah.
And there's the story that I might put the link in the description to actually that. Leon Hurley wrote.
Oh, this is the thing Leon, our news editor, wrote.
Yeah, and basically he made a pawn in this, and he got all the dimensions completely wrong. So it was this. He wanted this kind of like giant, towering, beautiful she-elf, and he ended up with this tiny, squashed sort of little helper he called Orange, who kept on getting eaten by everything in the game. That's not like, but of course, it's mechanically it doesn't feel great. I've said enough about Dragon's Dogma. I think it's you can throw rabbits off cliffs. That's the thing. The last one I think is it's a controversial one because some people think it's 10, some people think it's a 0, but that's why it kind of falls between.
Yeah, we've got to. It's not kind of entirely locked down as correct for this list, but we've got to discuss it because
it must be spoken of. Deadly Premonition.
Deadly Premonition is what we're talking about because it is a game that defies the kind of lumpen numerological systems of man. It exists beyond such kind of petty preconceptions. It is a game it's either a 12 for you or it's a 0, and you can't understand why anyone likes it at all. Yeah, it looks like a Duff PS2 game given a 720p upgrade. It plays like a Duff PS2 game given a 720p upgrade. You know, its mechanics are clunky, its dialogue's awkward, the characters are weird as hell. It's full of really strange cutscenes where people bumble weird shit at each other and it goes nowhere. But you know what? That's why it's great, because that makes it a million times. Obviously, you know which side of the camp I'm on now. Yeah. That makes it a million times more real and affecting for me than any amount of polished, chisel-jawed action heroes do, because real people are weird and awkward and strange and have odd conversations that go nowhere.
We have proof of that.
Yeah, check this out, and you won't listen to it. Yeah, and there's just if you're into that and you want something that isn't just doing the kind of polished bravado that so many games give us, and you can appreciate the ways it does operate on, and just getting to know that place and embedding yourself with these odd freaking weirdos who you ultimately come to absolutely adore. It's just a great experience.
Awesome. There you go. Let us know if you can think of any like really average, brilliant games that you've poured too much time into, or games that you sort of feel you have to evangelize about, tell your friends about, and tell them that they're worth playing as well. Hope you enjoyed this. Please give us a like if you did, and subscribe for more list features in the future. Thanks very much.
That was a pretty sweet video, right? If you want to see more, go to Games Radar's YouTube page over here. Or if you want to read, maybe up your game a little bit, go to GamesRadar.com.